All right, so free cash flow, net debt. Oh, wow. Holy moly. Net debt 137 billion euros. Market cap's 153 billion euros. Holy shit. So I just want to make sure you guys understand this. I'll give you a quick lesson. I know you guys all know this. You know, it's imperative. And, you know, this is a euro stock, so everything I'm doing here is in this funny looking currencies. Is it like that? Do I get it like that? I think I got it. Right? You guys see that? Okay. The share, sometimes they say in Europe, the share is trading for $31. We would say the shares are trading for $31. In the US is Deutsche Telekom. And there are 4.9 billion of these. So you have a very small piece of this pie. You know, when you're a kid, you get a pie and you learn a little bit about fractions when you look at the pizza pie. You got 8 slices, you got 1/8 of the pie. Well, this is a pizza. Get a little house in here, little table. This is a pizza pie with 4.9 billion slices. So quite a lot of slices here. Really thin slice. That's your slice. It costs 31 euros to buy a slice. So if you think about it, it sort of makes sense that if you multiply these, you get the value of the whole company. The whole is equal to the sum of its parts. I think that was either Aristotle or Euclid or both. So if you add all the parts, maybe you get the market cap, which is in this case, again, we draw the euro thing, 153 billion euros. Okay, cool. But when I buy one of these slices, or let's say I buy 10%, what would it cost? It would cost you $15 billion to buy 10%. 10% is a big stake. What if Buffett said, I want to buy 10% of Deutsche Telekom? He could do it. He has the cash. But what am I getting? What is this piece of this slice of a pie? What am I actually getting? In this case, Buffett would own, I don't know, let's put him in green here. But he would own, 10%-ish. Let's say this is 10%. That'd be Buffett. So you'd say, well, what does 10% get me? Well, you buy 10% of the shares outstanding. That means you own 10% of the assets of the company, but you also have the claims of the company. So one way to look at this is on a net cash basis or an enterprise value. Which we often say is EV. This is really important because if you just look at market cap, that's up here, it'd be really misleading. These guys say they have 137 billion euros of debt. Okay? And 153 billion euro market cap, which is what we calculated. So what does that mean? Well, it means that this company owes creditors, debt bondholders, $140 billion. So the earnings that the company makes, which we just looked at here, free cash flow, 24 billion. The 24 billion they're going to make, and it's kind of like clockwork. The next year they're going to make 24 billion as well. Maybe it'll be a little bit more, maybe it'll be a little bit less, but year after year they're going to make 24 billion. The bondholders have the senior claim to this, right? The equity holder, the pie slice holder, is not senior. He's sort of junior to the senior debt. Debt gets paid first. They get the money off the top. And so why would they issue so much debt? Year after, if they don't do anything else, this debt will get paid down. And it'll be what, 113? And it'll sort of become like 90. Is it going to be 90 or is it going to be even 80? 89, I guess. Not even, right? Why can't I do this math? 24. That should be 89, right? Am I crazy? Etc. And eventually, I'll put these in parentheses for negative, but eventually it'll turn into positive. It'll be $24 billion and then 48, and they'll be in the green. But right now they're in this debt position. So what we do is we subtract the cash, market cap minus cash plus debt equals enterprise value. And why are we doing this? Well, we want to understand what the value of the enterprise is, because if all this debt were paid off, theoretically the market cap would rise. Does that make sense? To 290. That's the enterprise value. So if it wasn't for this debt, it would be trading at what, 10 times, 11 times this cash flow, 12 times, I guess. But the debt's in the way. So they have to pay the debt down. And the opposite would have happened with cash, where you'd have to subtract the cash, because the enterprise is not worth what the cash is worth. It's worth what's left over. So by adding this debt back, you get to figure out what the actual enterprise is, because as they pay that debt down, the market should be willing to pay the same amount for that cash flow stream. Here's the stream. Merrily, 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 24 billion a year. But instead of some of that going to the debt holder, less and less will go to the debt holder. So imagine they had zero in debt. Well, the market was willing to pay 290 before, so they'll pay 290 again, but it'll all go to the equity holders. So the share price will rise maybe to 62 or something, and the new market cap will be 300 billion, and your stock price will grow. So sometimes just paying off the debt is a very bullish thing for stock. So in any event, that's kind of what enterprise value is. If you don't understand that, I made other videos about it that are even more clear. Market is at down 150. It's going to be an interesting day psychologically. Earnings don't look great. Some bad economic data. Nothing to really cheer about on equities. Risks seem clearly to the downside. But market's also resilient. Yeah, so this is a relatively large amount of debt for Deutsche Telekom. And that's not uncommon at all, by the way, in telecom. AT&T and Verizon are also massively levered. So technically, if you rank the world's companies by enterprise value, right, Deutsche Telekom would actually go from number 61 to number 28. It would be the 28th biggest company in the world. I don't know that its capital intensive is relevant to the enterprise value. You can be capital intensive and have a boatload of cash. I think in their case, many of the telecom companies, their earnings are so predictable and so reliable that they can borrow huge amounts of money to buy back stock or build out new networks. And that is capital intensive, of course. But I think it's just popular because you have, all this cash flow you can count on, right? And, why not take advantage of it? Your business isn't going to change. You're still, some of these companies, as you may know, AT&T, they've been around here 100 years. I mean, Verizon is just AT&T split, right? Verizon is a baby bell. All the baby bells, these guys have been around 150 years. They ain't going anywhere. So, eventually communications will be free when the Shkreli microwave transmitter comes. I mean, never mind. But regardless, hopefully we'll have more ease of communication. We don't have to pay these toll takers. But, they do provide us with the ability to communicate. So there's a trade-off there. Yeah, Ken's saying it really smart. Ken knows what he's talking about there. All right.